We have Wee Claire here with us. Hi, Wee
Yes,
Claire.
we do.
Oh, it's nice to be here, you guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're
And
turning the
hello.
tables.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Hello, everybody in the chat. Hi. So, how this goes is we're going to be interviewing Wee Claire. And obviously, if anybody has any questions that you'd like to ask, feel free to pop them in the chat and I will pull them up. But before we get into the questions, how about you introduce yourself for us? Give us a little bit of a background about yourself.
Sure. So I'm Wee Claire. Actually, that's not the name of my passport. It's Claire Lim. And I have been like a host. You call it a host here in America, or presenter in the UK, for around about a decade. That went fast. I started working for BBC The Social and at BBC Scotland, and then I started doing more stuff for BBC. Um, and then that sort of branched out to BAFTA and then Intel and then all of these other things, doing more on camera stuff. And then I got headhunted by MCM Comic Con, which is a Repop event, to
Hmm.
do their main stages and do live work. And before I was a host, I ran a music PR company with my ex-husband. And so I was really involved in like the business side of the entertainment industry for a long time, working with creatives in a different way, which sometimes was really rewarding, and sometimes it made me want to tear my hair out. So that's
I have so
just
many questions.
yeah, that's just the nature of the beast. But music was my first love. But I always wanted to do this
Mm.
since I was a
Mm.
little girl. I just didn't know how to do it. And now, I've spent 20 years in London, and now I'm in America, and I've been in America for a year and a half.
Amazing.
Wow.
Amazing. I love that we get to flip the table on you because
Yeah.
you're always interviewing. I have to say, I have to shout you out because Claire is, I think you've done my favorite live interviews at conventions.
Mm.
The conversations are just always so intelligent, whether it's the one on one conversations we've had or the panel discussions. They're so intelligent and so well thought out. And as I listen to you describe your background, because I know a bit about you, it makes so much sense. You're a creative who also is a business person. You operate from both sides of your brain, and you also see the larger ramifications. Like you taught for a while, did you not? Like,
Yeah. I got involved with a music college called BIM. And I taught in the business department of that music college, and I taught the musicians how to brand themselves, market themselves,
Oh.
and be good business people. And I think that's really important, as you know, the best bands and comedians and everything that I worked with in my business, when I managed them and did their PR and marketing, they had the best business brains and they were the most successful.
mm-hmm,
And you can be creative, super creative and weird, and you can be business minded as well.
That's
Both
right.
things can be true.
mm-hmm,
And if you don't feel you're one or the other, you can learn, and I think it's really important to inform yourself. And I used to say that to my students: when you go out into the world and you start looking at contracts and managers come and try and poach you, and venues want to put on your band, you need to understand what's in that bloody contract, because they
Mm-hmm.
will fleece you for all that you've got,
mm-hmm,
Yeah.
and that's sadly
mm-hmm.
how the world works. So I really loved working as a teacher because I really felt that was when I was really giving back to
Yeah,
the younger generation. And a lot of
Mm-hmm.
them follow me on Instagram now and
yeah,
DM me,
yeah,
and they're doing so well.
yeah.
So I feel proud.
It's pretty great.
So I'm here. So you originally started in music. How did you kind of segue into hosting and presenting, especially in the voiceover field? How did that come by?
Oh gosh, right. So because of the nature of what I did, I met a lot of producers, directors, people in the TV world, radio, whatnot. And then it just so happened that a contact of mine at BBC Scotland, a lovely guy called Muslim Alim, I love him. He said, "Hey, we're making like content for this new branch of the BBC, and you would have to edit it yourself and all that kind of stuff. But we're making this new content. It would go out on our platforms. Do you want to do it?" And I was like, "Oh, I can't video edit. I didn't know how to do that at the time, but I learned."
Mm.
And I just went for it because I thought, well, if the door's open, you walk through it, and if I make a mistake, I'll learn. So that's what I did, and I did make some mistakes, but generally that's what set me off on the journey. And from there, I started to pitch them ideas and get really into the idea of going, right, no, actually, I want to make a niche for myself through interviewing actors because they weren't really looking at that. So I started going to junkets and started doing things like that and trying to, I don't know, carve a niche out for myself that was beyond what they were doing. And then that's what set me on my journey.
How did you brand as We Claire, by the way? Because I know we often refer to you as We Claire. I'm just curious about the about that.
That's my mother.
Is it?
Really?
Oh.
Aw.
My mum used to always call me Wee Claire, even though
Aw.
I'm her firstborn. She would call me Wee Claire. And my brother was her wee angel pie, but I was Wee Claire.
Aw.
And
At least
then
you
when
weren't
I
food.
and then when I went to university, so when I went to Glasgow Uni, I left school early because I was dying to get out of school. I hated the hierarchical educational system that felt so closed. I hated it. And so there was a system in Scotland where if I got really good grades, I could leave a year early. So I just went for it and I left. And then I was the youngest, and so everybody called me Wee Claire. And I was also the shortest because I made friends with all the European people, and they were all really tall. And I'm a goblin. So that's how it was Wee Claire. Now everybody calls me Wee Claire, even though I'm now middle-aged. So I'm still Wee Claire. So
I love it. I have a question about Comic-Con as well. So, obviously, if anybody's attended a Comic-Con for a panel or anything, We Claire is usually hosting or presenting it all. What was your first Comic-Con experience like, whether it be just attending or hosting? And how did that kind of shape your path for you?
okay, I can remember the first time I attended, and I can remember the
Yeah.
first time I hosted because they really threw me into fire the first time I hosted. So, the first time I attended was really late on. I mean, I was in my early 30s. I went with my friend Tom, who lives here and works in LA. He's my oldest friend. So he's like my bud, my brother. So we were dorks. So we went together. We both like X-Men stuff. So I was like, let's just go look at comics and stuff. And I remember being there and thinking one day, this is a really strong thing to say, and I haven't said it out loud before. I remember attending a panel and thinking, I'm going to do that one day. That's what I'm going to do. Like, I just, when I want something, I get it in my brain and I don't let it go. Even if people say no, I'm like, I'll find another way. Like,
That's
so,
a clue right there.
Yeah.
and so I had it in the back. Then you put that, you take it from here and you put it to the back of your brain, and then that drives everything. It's like the map at the back, and it drove everything that I did. And then the first time I hosted, well, I wasn't looking for it. I wasn't looking for that job, but I was already working for BBC and stuff. And I got an email from MCM Comic Con. This was in 2019. And they went, hey, do you want to host our main stages? And I was like, it's happening. And I got really excited. And the first one I hosted it was in front of 1,500 people, and it was Sebastian Stan who plays the Winter
Oh,
Soldier.
wow.
And the second one that day was David Harbour. So,
Oh my
Wow.
God.
but
Good
I
on
was
you.
I was nervous because I I used to play in bands when I was younger. I used to play I still play guitar, but I used to play live.
Yeah.
But I was the girl that the slightly rotund dork that would like stand at the amp, and I was quite scared to like
Yeah.
face the audience.
Yeah.
But there was something inside. I looked out, I looked through the curtain, I was like, oh shit, this is a lot. And I don't know, something activated in my brain. I was like, no, I'm not here for myself anymore. I'm here to put on a show. I have to put on a
Yeah.
show because everybody's here to have a good time. And that's what carried me through. Making people happy was what made me happy and what carried me through because it was nerve wracking. But yeah, that was the first time. Those were the first times.
Yeah, I was going to segue into a question about that. Like, how do you manage, like, stage fright? Because you've done some pretty big panels and you've met some pretty prolific actors. So it sounds to me like it's mostly shifting the perspective of, oh my God, there's so many people. Like, no, I have a job to do. I'm here to make this fun, and I'm here to interview the actors.
Yeah. Um, Sometimes I'm a human being. Like the last time I got stage, I won't say fright, stage hesitance, I'll
Yeah.
call it, because you have to get up. You can't not get up. I'm getting paid, right? So I it was the Loki panel at MCM. It was just after COVID, so that was a wee bit weird as well. And it was in front of 5,000 people. and they thought it would be fun to walk me through those 5,000 people before going on stage.
Oh my God.
And they were like,
Ooh.
look at this, blah, blah. And I was looking around going, huh, interesting.
Especially post COVID. Let's put you in the middle of everyone
I
after a
know.
planet-wide epidemic. Yeah.
Wow.
I know. Oh my God. Yeah, it was really weird. That was weird because I'd only just gone back to teaching. That was the month I'd gone back to teaching in the classroom. And then I was there. Now, how do I get over that? Well, I was feeling shaky beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
The same feeling that I used to get when I played music in front of people. When I do stand up and when I play music, I get more stage fright doing that, you know. But I was feeling shaky. But then I don't know, like they announced my name, people were cheering, and then I concentrated on a few little faces at the front. They're all smiley, and I just thought, no, I want to give people a good memory. I don't want to
Yeah.
mess this up for people. I want them to go away and go, that was so fun. And so that's what carried me through. That's what carries me through every time.
Yeah. I have a question about the whole process as well. So, how can you give us kind of a little bit like a day in your life of hosting? How does it work? Do you market yourself consistently to seek out those opportunities at conventions, or do some people come to you? And what does your prep look like for presenting?
The prep. So much prep. Okay, let's start with the opportunities and then I'll move on to the prep. So in terms of the opportunities, I do the usual things maybe an actor would do. I have a show reel, I have a website. I make sure that my Instagram, I don't post anything personal on Instagram apart from stories where it's all about my cat. Um, and that is it. Even this morning, I was like, I love him so much. It's my cat. Cats are better than men. That's what I've decided. So,
Pretty
no
much.
offense, but orange boys are the ones for me. But I do all of that kind of work. I have a package, an agent package that I have that I send out to Comic Cons on one Google Drive, so it's easy for people
Oh.
to look at one link. I don't just have a resume. I have a normal resume, but I have a visual resume, which is like a PDF of pictures and photos with me and Ron Perlman or whatever. Because some people are visual and some people are not. So I try and give people the options to find me and see me and just make sure that my Instagram specifically is always like a visual resume as well. And then I will go online and I will research people I know that I want to speak to at Comic Cons and see where they're landing. Oh, like for example, where is Jennifer going this summer? Oh, that's a Comic Con I didn't know existed. I think I'll get in touch with them. So
Yeah.
it's as simple as that. The prep. Okay, so different things are required of me from different Comic Cons, conventions, but I just always keep it the same, whether it's a small mom and pop convention
Yeah.
or whether it's a Read Pop event. I go at it like it's the biggest thing I've ever done because that's how you keep the work, right?
Yeah.
So I go in and I'll say it's Jen, right? So when I was researching for Jen, of course I need to know what Jen's done, and I know what Jen has done. I've played those games, I know her work, but then I want to see what she said about the work. That's number one. But then I want to see what excites Jen. So I will watch things on YouTube. I watch things. I don't just read stuff, and I'll see when Jen kind of really gets into a subject, and I'm like, that's what you want to talk
Ah.
That's
about.
why the conversations with you are so good.
And that's more interesting to me as a human.
Yeah.
Because the fans will always ask fan questions. And if you want to read about someone like Jen's work, there's a million interviews like that. But I want to know about that person. And so I saw online, for example, with Jen, I was like, well, she really likes talking about business. I like talking about business. And one of the first things I mentioned was the business side. And I could see it on that panel, you, Jennifer, were like, oh, okay.
I sit up a little taller, like, yes, let's talk about this.
You're like, oh, okay. And I really wanted that's important for people. So I was like, this is a message here for people that are creatives. So I look at body language, I look at interests.
Wow.
And I think body language is interesting because sometimes if someone seems very closed and they don't want to speak, or someone's awkward, then I know to just mirror them and I just mirror what they're giving. So I think that's where I go with my prep.
Interesting. How do you balance, especially like with That's got to be a lot of prep. Like that's very intricate, especially for email, like for interviewing one person. I can't imagine like how do you balance a cast? Because I know you've interviewed like casts before with like I think it was Baldur's Gate 3 or something like that. How do you manage like making sure everybody, you focus on enough people evenly, but also with the intricate knowledge of like, oh, I know X, Y, and Z member.
Yes, because on the Baldur's Gate cast, I mean, a lot of them are my friends, so we have a shorthand. But you got to be careful about that because you can't then just make it like we're friends, and then it seems not inclusive, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with big casts, okay, so for the last Baldur's Gate one I did, I think there was 8 of us on a stage, something like that. So I just speak to them before like we're a team, and I have to just take control of it because I like being in charge.
Cheers to that.
And to anyone out there that, especially women, I'll say this when they go, "Oh, I'm bossy." That don't say you're bossy. It's okay to be in charge because that's what gets the shit done, right?
Right.
So I've learned to love that part of myself. But I just talk to them like we're in a circle and I go, right, this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna ask you each individual questions. Then we're gonna have a bit of a banter, and then so I just tell everybody what we're doing. So before we get on stage for like a giant cast reunion, they know the score and no one's going to talk over each other or me, and it's a show, so we do a good show.
That's great.
I have a final question kind of about this. What would your advice be to somebody looking to do this as well? Like if they want to become a presenter, if they want to become a host, what would your advice be to them to get started?
Everybody's road in is very different, as I know
Yeah.
Jen probably knows, and like you, Zelda, as well. um yeah, I hear people answer this question a lot and I'm like, oh yeah, totally. I totally agree. I would say, what is my best advice? Mm, keep the goal in your mind's eye at all points.
Mm.
If you have a passion and a love for something, anything, art, presenting, podcasting, acting, keep it in your heart and your mind at all points.
Yeah.
Train. Be better than the person before you and the better than the person after you. For example, I'm about to take an intensive Meisner course in
Ooh.
summer, and I love Meisner. I'm like a Meisner dork. Like, and last summer I took an acting course, not because I specifically want to become an actor, but because it gives me a head start on how the creative process is for the
Oh.
people I'm interviewing. I have
Oh.
to understand those people.
Yeah.
Improv as well for comedians, and I love improv. So I mean, I'm an improv dork. Stand up. I want to understand what it's like to perform. So I would say, educate yourself, keep the passion.
Mm.
There's different ways in. There's always different ways in, and be kind to people on the way up or on the way down. You know, because those people are going to be your greatest allies. Be kind. It does not matter if you're working with people and they're behind the camera or their crew or their sound people, shake everyone's hand and get to know everyone
Yes.
because they are very important. It's not just the people sitting on the stage with you. And yeah, like that would be my biggest advice. There's lots of changes to what I do now. Influencers are coming up, people with just numbers, things like that. I'm sure you guys are aware of all of these things, but I still believe that passion and knowledge and
Yes.
kindness are the things that push you through.
100%. Genuine, effective interviews really stand out to me. Besides, like, with all due respect, you're like, what's your favorite color? What's this, like, thoughtless questions that don't have enough time and effort, which is really what Claire puts into every interview that I've seen her do and every panel and everything. It sounds to me that, like, a lot of your marketing and PR background has definitely influenced, like, the way you have this, the thoughtfulness and the care that you've put into your interviews. Would you agree with that?
Yes. There are some things when I'm doing interviews that I think about ahead of time. So I have a very natural conversation with people. I have my questions, but I literally don't look at my iPad anymore. I'm like, well, if I can talk to a human off the street, I can talk to people on a stage. It's called active listening. Like, that's what makes good actors, and I think that's what makes good presenters. You listen to your stage partners, right? But my PR background has helped because I sometimes ask pointed questions I know will get cut out and clipped.
Mhm.
There was one in particular I asked for the Baldur's Gate panel because I know that that audience are very thirsty. They really bloody are, and they like fun, and they're a bit cheeky. So I said to the cast, "Hey, just a dumb question. What would be on your dating profile, your character's dating profile?" And that got 120,000 likes on TikTok.
Oh my
Yeah.
Madness.
God.
But I knew that that would happen. You know,
Yeah.
so there are sometimes some questions I will ask that are, you know, kind of for that, but really they're at the end of an interview.
Mm.
So that has helped. I think it's helped in terms of I know, you know, basic things like algorithm on Instagram, you know, really technical things.
Hmm.
Mm.
I know what grabs people's attention when you're doing an Instagram reel,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, first 2 or 3 seconds.
Yeah.
I kind of know things like that, and I know what pictures work for me and my personal brand. You know, I wouldn't put something up black and white. I'm a colorful person.
Mm.
Is that what I want to exude? Yes. If I wanted to exude something sexier, then I would change that. So
Mm.
Yeah.
yeah, there's things that I think about, and yeah, I think personal branding is really important. I think for actors and for presenters, people, and sadly, people don't think of that, but it is part of the job as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Oh, a very necessary part. Yeah, you could be, the best presenter, the best actor, but if you can't shop it out to people and get it out there, then it's kind of fruitless. And I think especially the insight that, because I have a marketing background as well, and I'm just hearing what you're saying, and I'm like, yes, yes, yes. I think it's so important to have those foundations because there's other things that people, like you said, for example, when you walk in a booth, you talk to everybody. You don't just go in there and just do your thing and
Hmm.
leave. That some people just may not even think about that, not to be rude. It's just simple things that are left out. But that leads me to segue into my next topic.
love a
Claire
segue.
here is a coach on SkillsHub.life.
Yes.
And Claire will be talking about marketing. And for all of you guys that are either like actors or interested in getting into the similar path, she's going to be here on the platform. So, what are you most excited to coach about? The topics that you are really excited about, and some of the things you'd like to discuss with future members.
I think the thing that I'm really excited about is unlocking people's creative potential.
Mm.
Mm.
Because I think people think of marketing and branding and things like that, or even just presenting and hosting and content creation is like it's a formula. If I do this, I'll get this. No. What do you love? What's authentically you?
Hmm.
You know? How do you want to be weird? You know, how
Yeah.
do you want to be creative? Like what makes you stand out? Because we are all individuals.
Mm-hmm.
And so I am excited to meet individuals and actually really get to know them and get
Mm.
under the skin and then understand what really makes them. I'll give you an example. I had a meeting with somebody in London who was questioning me about how they're also a presenter, but they've not done as much and they just wanted some advice. So I met up with them and they were like, do I need headshots? Do I need this? Do I need that? And I went, well, let's stop. Who are you actually? Like, tell me who you are.
Mm.
Oh, I work for this magazine and that. I went, no, 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 that's not who you are. Who are you? Like, are you a magazine? Are you
Yeah.
this? And then he went, oh, okay. And he started to tell me where he grew up, what he loved, why he loved it, his neurodivergence, blah, blah. And I went,
Hmm.
okay, now I'm understanding. And so that will feed into anything else that goes through your marketing because you have to be authentically you. And we have lived in a time already where I see cynical things, influencers, cynical bits of marketing going out, people doing podcasts for the sake of them,
Yeah.
sound bites for the sake of it. I
Yeah.
would rather not see that.
Yeah.
Like, come back to me when I can connect to a person.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to get you the jobs, and that's what's going to get you hired.
Mm-hmm.
Right there. That right there.
That
Yep.
100% that.
Hmm.
And what a
So-
strong way to end it.
Yeah. Right.
1:30 on the dot. Like,
Oh my
perfect.
God, Claire. I'm so excited for people to get to know you, I mean, we know you, but to get to know you in this capacity.
Yeah.
Because you have so much wisdom to share and so much experience, and you're just so incredibly like person smart and business smart. And
Yeah.
those two things together are fire. It's just incredible.
Yeah, I'm excited. Like I was very honored and excited when you guys were like, yeah, come on Skill Hub and Skills Hub. And I was like, oh my God, because I do feel like being in front of a camera or on a stage is fun, and it's great, and it definitely exercises a part of my person. But I don't know, like we live in a very kind of selfish and unkind world in a lot of ways, and people holding on to their spaces.
Yeah.
This is my job, this is my space.
Yeah.
There is space for everybody, and I want to be able to show that
Yeah.
and give that. And I've been locked out before because people have taken my job or they've locked me out, and I'm like, that's
Yeah.
by peers, by women, by people the same age as me. Terrible. So I kind of want to be able to go, no, there's a kindness here, and impart knowledge, because knowledge is power, and sharing knowledge is power. And especially in these times that we live in, whether you're in whatever field, politics or creativity, that's what we have to share,
Yeah.
because that's the only way we progress. So that's where I'm at in my life, I guess, now. And less, I think in my 20s and 30s, I was like, who am I? And now I'm like,
Yeah.
no, who are we?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ah, that's so well put. Yet another amazing button.
You can tell I do this for a living. Guys.
It's so good, Claire. It's so good. Like, you do it some more.
I should wear my toga next time.
Right?
Yeah.
So just bring my toga, you guys. No, I'm glad to have the platform for it. And
Yeah.
like I like what you guys are doing. You know, I feel like there's a real ethical, kind, sort of community-based stance about things. And you know, I stream on Twitch, and I can see a lot of my Twitch people in the chat right now as well.
Hey, you guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You are all
Hi, Wee
so
Squad.
welcome.
We
Yeah.
Squad strong.
We Squad.
Yes,
I
yes, We
love that.
Squad. Love
Hi,
it.
We Squad.
Love it.
We
Woohoo.
love you,
We squad. We squad.
But and I tell you, community as well. Oh my God,
Yeah.
there are so many companies that I think run off the idea that it's about the individual and all of these workers that work underneath the individual. No, it's a community. That's how villages and cities get built, and that's how companies are actually built.
That's how humanity's happened.
Exactly. And that's, you know, I wouldn't be here in America if it wasn't for the Wee Squad supporting me genuinely. I tell them that all the time. And some of them, they come out and they sit in the front row of panels. I have like 2 fans
Aw.
going, yeah.
Oh, I love that.
And
Yay,
I've
We
met them
Squad.
now. Like, you know, and they're good people, you know. And I think what Skills Hub is doing is bringing the community together and building. And I think that, again, we can't build a future without community and without people.
It's true.
Exactly.
It's very true. Yeah.
So that's another button for you, Ben.
There's so many good buttons.
Right?
Button 3.
We have a collection of buttons. We have a button collection now. I love our button collections. Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, that's me. That's my TED talk. Yeah, I'm excited for it. Thank you
Yeah.
for having me.
Yeah.
Before we sign off, where else can we find you besides Skills Hub?
Oh gosh. Okay. I am Wee Claire here on everything pretty much. On Instagram, on TikTok. I don't post on TikTok too much, but I do post there sometimes. So Instagram, TikTok, and also on Twitch. Twitch is where you get the most natural version of me, where I'm just talking like this. I was just talking about my terrible love life on Twitch.
Oh my God, I love it. Oh, that's so great. I want to see your cat. That's what I want to see.
I will send you a picture of my cat.
Please do.
He sometimes appears on Twitch as well.
Aw.
So that's where you get the most me on Twitch, where I just, you know, moan about life and try and talk to people in a real way. And then also my website's just weeclaire.com if you just want to look at work and stuff like that. But yeah, Instagram's probably the best.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
Does your
Thank
mom ever
you.
get to see you work?
I think she silently lurks on stuff. She's quite shy actually, and she sort of lurks in the background. And we don't talk too often, but sometimes she'll just, you know, say, "I saw you on this," or I saw you doing this or that. And my dad will do the same.
Yeah.
I don't think they quite understand. They do understand now what I do, but for the longest time they were like, unless you're on television, I don't understand.
Yeah, the new, they don't get how the new economy works and the new everything. It's I was wondering, since she gave you the name, if she'd seen it in action. Yeah.
I think, you know, I think she's seen some stuff. She saw my Jeff Goldblum interview years ago, and then she finally understood, you know. because
Yeah.
that's somebody she knows,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Right. Right. You're
But
legit
with
now.
yeah, but with the voice stuff or with the video game stuff, she's like, you know.
Yeah.
But if it's someone big,
Yeah.
like I said, I was interviewing Mr. T last week, and she went, "Okay, I know who that is."
You're like, Mom, it's the largest growing economic sector in all of entertainment, and I'm the interviewer. I'm the presenter. I'm one of the top presenters of choice. So
I know, but you know what parents are? It's just a generational thing.
it is.
Yeah.
It is. I get the same thing. I get it. Yep.
Yeah, 100%.
Yep.
We, Claire, thank you so much for coming on here and providing all of your wonderful insight. You heard it here, folks. Find her on Skills Hub. Find her on all the socials, all the things. Thank you, We Squad, and everybody for tuning in.
Yeah.
And be sure to stay tuned for who next week's guest is.
Yay!
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.